the Philadelphia Phillies offseason keeps on chugging along. Thank you guys for all supporting here and staying tuned and up to date with me here on Phillies Daily. Appreciate each and every one of you. Welcome to Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Henley. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Now, there was no World Series game last night on Thursday. There was a day off as they're going from LA back to Toronto for Game 6 and possibly a Game 7 if needed. Yes, the Blue Jays took a 3-2 series lead Wednesday night over the Los Angeles Dodgers on the road. They are one win away from winning the World Series. Now, the Blue Jays did take Game 1 of the World Series back in Toronto, 11-4. Dodgers tied it up 1-1 in that second game in Toronto, 5-1. And then the Dodgers won the first game back in LA, Game 3, 6-5. That was the 18-inning game where Freddie Freeman hit the walk-off home run for the Dodgers to take that 2-1 lead. The Blue Jays tied it up in Game 4, 2-2 with a 6-2 win. And then they obviously won Game 5 as well Wednesday night by a score of 6-1 to take that 3-2 series lead. Again, no game last night on Thursday. Game 6 will be here tonight, Friday, 8 p.m. in Toronto, and then a Game 7, if needed, will wrap up the World Series tomorrow night, Saturday, in Toronto as well, 8 p.m. start. So the MLB season is winding down. We could have a World Series champion as soon as tomorrow. But into the Phillies, a lot of offseason rumors. We all know that. We've been talking about it here on Phillies Daily. Anything you look, anywhere you look, Phillies related, there is going to be rumors, whether it's about their free agents upcoming, possible free agents they're going after, possible trades they may be looking into. So much different stuff going on for the Phillies. They're going to be a good team again in 2026. They have a really good roster. They have that great starting pitching staff still, even if Ranger Suarez walks. They have some bullpen pieces there. They got their lineup still relatively intact. I mean, you got Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto as free agents, but one or maybe even both could be back in 2026, depending on how the market shapes up. But we're going to stick with JT Realmuto here. JT Realmuto is a free agent for the Phillies, as we all know. Now, he is getting older. He's 34 right now. He's going to be 35 years old throughout the 2026 season. That is old for a catcher, especially a catcher that likes to play every single day like JT Realmuto, behind the dish. Just tough on the body, tough on the knees for catchers, especially getting up there in age. That's why you see a lot of catchers start to transition to first base later in their career if they make it that long. And now with the DH being universal in both the American and National League, that opens that spot up for them as well, as long as they are a good offensive threat. JT Realmuto, that could be in his future. We've seen him play first base at times the past couple of years. A lot of catching still for him, though, but still 35 years old. If he is brought back, you're going to see a lot of JT Realmuto probably at first base and DH as the next year or two go on if he signed to a multi-year contract here with the Phillies. Now, he's likely going to sign a 2-year deal in free agency, whether it's with the Phillies or not with the Phillies, and likely going to be in the range of $13 to $17 million a year, depending on how many teams are interested in Realmuto, if there's going to be a bidding war between them. So it could drive up the price and could drive right out of the Phillies' price range for a 35-year-old catcher. He has been great since the Phillies acquired him in that trade with the Miami Marlins back in 2019. Not the best season this past year in 2025. He did have a hot months of June and July in the summer months, but before that, not really great at the plate. And to end the season, not really great at the plate either. Still very good defensively. Obviously not as good as he was in years past, but still very good defensively overall. Now, Bleacher Report the other day came out with possible trades, and one of these trades were for Baltimore Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman, and that was saying that the Phillies could potentially trade for Rutschman if JT Realmuto walks in free agency. That could be a very, very real possibility, and that leads me into Adley Rutschman. Now, he is a 27-year-old switch-hitting catcher for the Baltimore Orioles. A few more years of club control. He's not going to be a free agent until 2028. Drafted first overall in the 2019 MLB draft by the Orioles. He was the 2022 American League Rookie of the Year runner-up, came right into the league, proved why he was the first overall pick in that draft in 2019. He was an all-star in consecutive seasons in 2023 and 2024, that being last year. 2023, he hit career-high 277 with 31 doubles, 20 home runs, and 80 RBIs. 2024, the average dipped. He still had 19 home runs and 79 RBIs in 2024. Silver Slugger in 2023, as well as the All-Star played in only 90 games this past season in 2025. Obviously, if you followed along with Major League Baseball this year, the Baltimore Orioles had a very, very bad year overall. They're a very good surprise team, really, in 2024. Had high expectations coming into 2025 with some young talent and some veterans as well, and just did not perform the way anybody thought they would. And that's why a reason why is Adley Rutschman just did not have the year that people thought he would have had. He was trying to get into that elite category after those 2 straight All-Star appearances in 23 and 24. He was proving again why he was that first overall pick and why so many people think he can be a tremendous catcher in this league. But unfortunately, only played in 90 games due to oblique injuries in 2025 with the Orioles, and he batted just .220 with a .307 on base percentage, 366 slugging, 673 OPS, 16 doubles, 2 triples, 9 home runs, 29 RBIs. So just really not much power there for him either in those 90 games. The average was obviously low. On base percentage way lower than you would like to see as well. He does have elite potential as a defensive catcher as well as offensively. And that leads me to say maybe possibly with this trade that Bleacher Report hypothesized here could be very similar to when the Phillies traded for JT Realmuto back in 2019 from the Miami Marlins. If you remember, JT Realmuto was about the same age, 27, 28 years old, that Adley Rutschman is right now. When the Phillies traded for him from the Marlins in 2019, Realmuto was also coming off an All-Star season, his first All-Star appearance of his career in the 2018 season with the Marlins, and he was starting to really begin to make his mark as one of the best all-around catchers in Major League Baseball. A lot of people obviously have said he was the best catcher in baseball for a couple of those years to start his Phillies career, and he definitely was all around. Offensively, defensively, everything was there. He was tremendous. Obviously getting up there in age, offensive production kind of falling off a little bit. Still has his good moments. Defense falling off a little bit as well. Still very good defensively as well. But if the Phillies were to trade for a guy like Adley Rutschman with so much potential both offensively and defensively, still in the prime of his career with probably some of his best years to come, very reminiscent of JT Realmuto at the time, as I just said. And really, honestly, other than JT Realmuto, who's a free agent, or possibly making a trade if you don't bring back JT Realmuto, really not much options out there available this offseason for catchers. The Phillies could roll with Rafael Marchand, give him his starting opportunity if JT Realmuto is not brought back. Marchand obviously has potential. Injuries have kind of set him back. Realmuto playing every day has set him back as well. But he's got potential both offensively and defensively. He's still pretty young. You still have Garrett Stubbs you could keep around too. You got some other veteran guys that you could possibly look into in free agency, but really slim pickings on the free agent market. The best catcher probably at this point is going to be JT Realmuto. He's probably going to have a lot of suitors. I even saw a report today saying there's possibility that JT Realmuto could have more interest in free agency than Kyle Schwarber even gets. It's not saying JT Realmuto is going to sign for more money. He's definitely not going to, but more teams are going to be looking in, especially teams with catcher-needy teams are going to be looking into JT Realmuto as one of the top options for a 2 to 3 year contract. It was a lot of people think he's going to sign a 2-year deal. That's fine. He's going to be 35. That's pretty much all you really want to do. But there was another report saying it could possibly, depending on how many people or how many teams are looking into Realmuto, could push that to a 3-year deal. And that might just be a little too much, especially if you're a team like the Phillies. 35 years old, that'd be 35, 36, 37. We've seen him declining both offensively and defensively. Probably not the best investment for $13 to $17 million a year in that range. So if that comes to it, the other options in free agency, Salvador Perez, he has a club option with the Kansas City Royals, so he's not a guaranteed free agent, but possibility. Victor Caratini, Danny Jensen, also he has a mutual option. Christian Vasquez, James McCann, Elias Diaz, mutual option. Tomas Nido, Austin Barnes, Gary Sanchez, Mitch Garver, mutual option. Luke Mailey, Tom Murphy, club option, and Jacob Stallings. Those are pretty much the free agent catchers or possible free agent catchers this offseason. All of them are pretty much up there in age, and not really any of them are better than JT Realmuto. Definitely really not better than JT Realmuto other than Salvador Perez, but he's got a club option. He's likely not going to hit the market, but still, slim pickings out there. There are also other trade possibilities in addition to Adley Rutschman. I'll get into some of them probably throughout the offseason as well, unless JT Realmuto re-signs before I get to it. But some things to think about here. If JT Realmuto, you want to keep him around for 2 to 3 more years at his age, his decline in production, or you try to make a trade possibly for an Adley Rutschman type player. But that's how it is. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Phillies Daily. I'm your host, Mike Kennelly. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Now remember, today is Friday. Phillies Daily during the offseason is only Phillies Monday through Friday, so no video tomorrow or no video Sunday. We'll be back at it Monday. Thank you guys again for watching. You're appreciated as always, and as always, go Phils.